Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast, Very Factual. We're your hosts, Kayla
and Izabella, and the most anticipated game of Saturday was the North London derby, Chelsea versus Arsenal, and it ended in a thrilling 2-2 draw. Arsenal got off to a shaky start, losing the ball a few times, giving Chelsea good chances to score. Chelsea got rewarded for their brilliant play in the 14th minute with a penalty after a handball off of William Saliba, which Cole Palmer converted, getting his second Chelsea goal. Right after the half, Mykhailo Mudryk made an incredible goal to the far corner off a tough angle, giving Chelsea a comfortable 2-0 lead. When the 77th minute rolled around, Robert Sanchez made a passing mistake, giving Declan Rice the opportunity to one-time the ball into the back of the net, outside the box. Arsenal continued to press more and more, and they equalized the game with Leonard Trossard coming off the bench, getting Arsenal the point. Kayla, well, since I'm very disappointed in this result, what did you think of it?
Okay, so honestly, Arsenal's like my kind of second favorite team. So I pretty happy in a way because I always didn't want them to like win.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it was a tie. And the penalty, I saw that Premier League posted something that was like, oh, was the penalty like not supposed, was it fair or not?
Yeah.
And I think it was because it was an obvious handball.
Yeah.
But I don't really like penalties because it's basically just a free goal for the other team. You're very if it's good for your team, you like it.
I like it, yeah.
Chelsea scored their second goal. It was beautiful, but not as beautiful as Arsenal's first. Declan Rice! Oh my gosh. All the way from like what I would say is about like 10 yards away from the goal box. Like,
yeah.
It was a crazy goal into the bottom left corner.
I was like, okay, even as a Chelsea fan, I was like, what?
Yeah, that was
incredible.
It was an incredible goal. And the second goal Arsenal had was also phenomenal. They put like both teams were really pushing for a win.
Oh, yeah,
like
definitely.
Once it was 2-0, I was pretty like, oh, okay, I guess Chelsea's winning this. But then Arsenal went back, and at the end, the last 10 minutes were crazy. Like both teams were really pressuring each other. And your face when Arsenal scored the second goal,
I was just defeated.
It was like
it felt
priceless.
Like a defeat.
It was priceless. It's so funny. Like this game was definitely an action-filled game. We were at the edge of our seats like basically the entire game.
We were like screaming and everything. It was great. But I'm gonna try to say this in chronological order. I'm trying to go through everything. So the first like 15 minutes, Chelsea straight off the bat, they were there. They were at goal.
So much pressure.
They could have got like 3 goals in like 2-3 minutes. It was crazy. I mean, they got 2 goals. I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, Chelsea are back. We're back at the top. But that didn't last long. Second half came around. I mean, they played good, like the beginning of the second half, like we saw the Mudryk goal. Absolutely amazing. Such a tough angle. But then Robert Sanchez decided to pass the ball to Declan Rice instead of Chelsea, like his Chelsea teammates. And Declan Rice made an amazing goal. It's just so disappointing because I literally thought we had this. I was like, oh my gosh, but we let down, definitely, and it sucks.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I was honestly kind of scared in the beginning, so I was like, oh, maybe she's right, like maybe they are coming back, but you know, they really pushed clearly, but they weren't quite where I thought they were gonna be at least.
Yeah, I think they bottled it. They just, you know, they thought they had it, and 2-0 leads are like the worst possible leads ever, because you know they get a goal back and it's like, oh, it's still 2-1, and then they score another goal, it's like 2-2.
I think 3-0 are like the best because then you're like pretty set for the game. Yeah, then you're like
pretty comfortable. I think something that was really entertaining in the game though was the Saka Cucurella, like, what was it, matchup here, like on the wings, like absolutely crazy. They were always at each other. They were putting each other to the ground, fouling each other. It was incredible. It's just sad that we couldn't come away with the win because it would have been so big and such a turning point. We were so close.
I mean, I'm pretty happy that you didn't come away with the win because I would not stop hearing about it for the next week. Yeah. But it was a really good game. It was very even when it comes to who with like possession and who was having shots and everything.
Yeah, Chelsea just needs to grow a little bit more and be back at the top, because like we saw in those beginning minutes, they definitely can be up there.
The beginning minutes honestly scared me a little bit.
Because they came out.
They were ready. And I'm like, Arsenal's in what, second, third, I think?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think so. So, it's crazy to me that...
Chelsea were in, they were 11th before the game. And, yeah, Arsenal's in second now. And then Chelsea, where are Chelsea?
I think they're at 8th now. 9th.
Okay. We still came up.
You're in the single digits now.
We're in the top half of the table. That's good. But it's just, it feels like a defeat because of like how we started
and the fact that it was 2-0 for almost like more than half the game.
Yeah.
For like 75 minutes it was 2-0 almost, and then it's like the last 15-20 minutes.
Chelsea definitely got too comfortable and thought we had this, but once you give Arsenal like that space and kind of like those opportunities, like we saw Declan Rice, I said he's one of the best players of the Premier League, and he definitely proved that. That was his second Arsenal goal, because I remember he scored against United too. Yep. But I'm gonna be honest, like that goal
was amazing. It was crazy. I wouldn't have even expected him to shoot it from that far out. And with that goal, honestly, I kind of think it's a little bit the Chelsea's goalie's fault, because he was like outside the box, which was fine for like pressuring, but when he saw that they were getting closer, he wasn't really moving. He just kind of let the ball go right past.
It was his fault that he passed wrong, and then he's standing there like acting like, guys,
you guys should have gotten that when he was the one who passed wrong.
Sad day
for you. Sad day for you.
No, for real. But yeah, I mean, the thing, we got a point. That's what you have to
point is all that matters.
Look at against a really good Arsenal side.
Well, yeah, because Arsenal's in second right now. They were playing against someone. What was Chelsea before this? Like 11th, I think.
Yeah, Chelsea were 11th.
So it was actually like a pretty good game for considering places on the table.
Yeah. So we'll see how they do next week. Another derby that took place today was the Mercyside derby, Liverpool versus Everton, and not gonna lie, it was a bit underwhelming. Liverpool took a late second half 2-0 win. The first half was really quiet until Ashley Young got sent off for a second booking in the 37th minute after bringing down Luis Diaz. As the second half went on, each team got more and more desperate, and Liverpool finally got a penalty in the 74th minute, which Salah, of course, converted. Then Darwin Núñez breakaway with Salah secured the Reds the win in the dying moments of the game. I'm going to be honest, I expected a lot more from this game. I think I wanted more. I think I was expecting more. I wanted like a really derby kind of like feel, like we talked about the Chelsea game. But I think it was the result we expected. I think we knew Liverpool were gonna win. We didn't expect much more. Everton really didn't have a chance, even though they have been better. I think it's just Liverpool's on a different level. Like
you said, this was an expected win, and clearly Everton was pushing. Like, I expected the score to be a little bit like higher on Liverpool's side, but they just couldn't finish their shots. Salah's penalty was good, and of course he made it in. Like, it's Salah.
It's Salah. It was Salah. He came to the rescue when they needed him.
It was a very exciting game, very expected, and you just kind of knew that Liverpool was going to win because Everton is very close to relegation. They're in 16th, so it's like you just kind of knew.
They have been better. They have been getting better, but it's Liverpool. It's Liverpool.
2-1, I just expected more from Liverpool.
I kind of wanted more like goals, maybe some more action, but because Liverpool really dominated in shots and possession. Salah did the job. Like I said, he rescued Liverpool again, especially that Darwin Núñez breakaway. That was great. I was like, this is gonna be a goal. I know. There's no way he can miss this. And the back line surprisingly did really well. Andrew Robertson is out as he got a shoulder injury when he was away with Scotland, and he has to get surgery for that. So Kostas Tsimikas went in, and he did all right. He's not as great as a defender as Robertson, but for the time being, maybe
it'll work.
Just he's better going forward than he is defending, which is like kind of like the Trent situation. Yeah, like both of their like left backs and right backs, they just want to go forward instead of stay back. The midfield looked great though, like Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch. Amazing, especially Szoboszlai. He is my favorite all time. I mentioned him last episode. And Liverpool have had a good run this season, and the team is looking great. And I think they'll definitely be up there challenging for the title. What are they in? Third now. So I definitely think that they'll be up there this season.
I agree with that. Like you said, the backline did do well without Robinson, but other than that, it's just everything was expected. How I thought it wasn't as action packed as I hoped. It was a little underwhelming, like you mentioned before. Compared to like the Chelsea game, which is another derby, like that one was great. This one was just super. You knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah,
it was just another Premier League game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a big derby, like because it's like the Liverpool derby, the two Liverpool teams. But maybe it's like I wasn't as into it as I should have been. But just like you knew what was gonna happen. Yeah. So not surprised at all.
You know both teams' records, so it's just
yeah.
So City took on Brighton at home and won, of course, 2-1. In the 7th minute, Julian Alvarez scored the opener. And just 12 minutes later, Haaland scored the second. The two players we love on City right now. City was dominating this game, and then soon in the second half, Fati scored for Brighton in what I think was a pretty lucky goal, because City's goalie Ortega kicked the ball straight to Brighton's team.
Another goalkeeper mistake.
Yep, another goalkeeper mistake. We also saw Manuel Akanji.
Good job.
Get 2 yellow cards, resulting in him leaving the pitch. Yes. But City didn't really let down, only having 10 players. Like, it didn't affect them at all. Also, on Brighton, Solly March collided with a City player and had to be stretchered off. This game was very, very physical, but at the end of the day, City did bring those much-needed 3 points to the table.
Definitely.
Honestly, they're in first now. I'm pretty happy.
It's I mean, they're tied with Arsenal. So.
Yeah, I mean, 2-1 against Brighton, kind of surprising. I was expecting more of like a 2-goal difference than 1. I was a little bit worried because at the end, Brighton was really pushing, but City overall did have this when we knew what was going to happen. They just have that history. I mean, Brighton's in 7th though, so like I said, I kind of expected a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I was surprised that they went up 2-0 so quickly because Brighton have been really good this season, and Brighton really didn't show up until the second half. I think they Brighton played really defensive, and they made it hard for City towards the end. Like, they didn't let City, go into their half, have shots or anything. And I guess City's dip in form did not last long at all. They're back. They got 3 points. Like you said, Alvarez scored. It was an amazing assist by Doku.
Doku, he went around, 2 players straight next to the goal line, passed it through 3 other players, passed it to Alvarez. And it was honestly like really beautiful skills that he had there. It was so great.
And I think he's been one of City's best signings this season. Like, I didn't think he would be that big of a difference, but he's very creative, and I love it.
He did get stepped on though during the game on his calf, and he was like crying.
He was absolutely crying.
I wonder if he'll be okay for the next, because he played for the rest of the game, but he was injured because he got stepped on. Pleated on in your calves is probably the worst ever.
Especially when someone's trying to run at full force and then they say,
oh my gosh.
And Haaland's goal drought ended.
Yeah.
A very strong goal, and you could tell that through the screen. Like,
last episode we mentioned that he just kind of waits up there, waits for the ball. This one he actually took it into his own hands and went through a few players and scored. He wasn't just waiting for that pass. So it was a very good goal.
Very, if that hit you, you would have that would have knocked the wind out of you. City did have the edge in this. It's typical City. They had the most possession, they had the most shots, and like you said, a downside is gonna be that Akanji is gonna be out. That might be a miss, but then again, they have Gvardiol and they can bring Ake in as well.
They definitely have replacements they could use. Maybe not as amazing as their startings or Akanji or something, but they have players.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried for City.
Yeah, and then City, this week, they have Champions League game against Young Boys, which they're obviously going to win.
Obviously.
We're not surprised. So I think City's going to stay up there now. I have, this feeling that,
Well, they're tied with Arsenal right now with 21 points, but City is... If Arsenal won that game, I think they would have been in first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, City's going to have this in the bag by the end of the season. If they go down again, they're gonna pick it back up. They know.
Yeah, they're gonna repeat it again. Maybe not the treble, but they're gonna win Premier League.
They're gonna win.
I feel like everyone just knows, unless something I don't see anything bad happening to them.
Unless they lose a lot of players injured, like Chelsea in the beginning of the season, they had a lot of injured players. So unless the same thing happens to City, there probably shouldn't be a lot of...
the thing about City is that, like, all their players, they have that mindset. They are, like, committed. They're just, like, so professional. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at, like, Chelsea with all their young players and just injuries, and that didn't work. Also at United, you know, all their problems.
All their issues that's going on with their immature players.
I don't see that happening at City at all. No. I feel like their coach is just too good.
He keeps them in line. He definitely keeps them in line. You can tell. Coaches have, like, a great effect on how the players are acting. So, it's good for City. Manchester United took a 2-1 win back home against Sheffield United on Saturday. Both teams started out strong, and not gonna lie, it kind of scared me because I thought United might have lost, but McTominay scored the opening goal in the 28th minute. And honestly, it was a really good goal, but his goal was basically useless because he costed a handball penalty, making the score 1-1 for Sheffield. United was really pushing and kept missing shots. Like, they were just kicking, and they got close so many times, and they just were missing and missing and missing. But soon all that pushing paid off, and Dalla scored the winning goal. United, in my opinion, was, like, really offensive. They were really trying, compared to the normal defensive.
Yeah.
They were really trying to score, but they kept on missing. They couldn't finish their shots. And Højlund was doing amazing.
Yes.
He was doing really good. He's been getting a lot better recently. Mm-hmm. But there were so many opportunities, and United just could not finish them. They just couldn't.
It was sad. It's a sad result. I feel like... If you struggle against a 20th place
team, 1-point team,
you're literally done. Like, you suck. There's no culture at the club. It's literally so bland and so boring. Like, when they play City in a few weeks, they're literally going to be thrashed if they play like this. Like, you can't do that.
They had those shots. They had them because it was against the 20th place, but they couldn't finish them. They were just shooting and shooting. At this point, it looked like they were just shooting for fun.
Yeah.
Like, it looked...
They were just trying to get something.
They weren't up to their normal standards, and it made me really mad because they're literally playing against the 20th place team.
One point.
Now I think they're in 8th because of this win, I think. But it's just 1-point team who has tied one game. You can't... Yeah. They barely scraped the win.
McTominay's goal was, like, it was a good goal, you know. He has been their guy for the last few games. Like, last game, you know, he won it for them. Dallow's goal was amazing, too. It was, like, top corner right outside the box. They got the result, though, which is, you know,
what they needed.
You can't argue. They got 3 points. They need to really build off the win, and I feel like we say that each time, but, you know, you kind of have to. And I have literally no idea how they're trying to play. Like you said, they were just shooting and shooting and shooting.
Yeah.
They have no confidence, no anything. This is Manchester United, and you can't play for a club like that because it's embarrassing. And when you play for, like, a club like Man United, you can't put in, like, bad performances like that. I think Sheffield, like, really played them off. Like, Sheffield didn't look like a 20th place team. They actually, like, you know, the teams looked really even. Like, if you, like, put the same color shirt on both of them, you would have no idea which one was Sheffield or Man United. And you can't, if you're Man United, you can't let a team like Sheffield do that to you, like, embarrass you, like, let them play you off like that.
Honestly, it is really embarrassing because it's Sheffield, and it's like, you are Manchester United, and you just scraped by to get that win. It's pretty embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah, I think Man United this season have had luck on their side. It has been their thing, like what we saw in, just like this whole season, like even in the Bayern Munich game, was it the Burnley game? They just have luck, and that's the only reason they're getting by. And, like, if you look at the other, like, other teams performing against Sheffield, like, Newcastle beat Sheffield 8-0, and United just got by with a 1-2 victory. Like, you cannot let that happen, and they really need to, like, I don't even know the word.
I know what you mean, though. They really need to pull themselves together, honestly. Just kind of get there, get to that spot, and act like Manchester United, honestly.
Yeah, they for real do. There's more updates in the Jadon Sancho situation, as a source reported by ESPN said that Sancho's former club, Borussia Dortmund, are ready to give him a way out of Manchester United in January. It looks like a loan move is what they are looking for the rest of the season, and it would definitely benefit Dortmund, as United would still have to pay half of his wages. But Dortmund aren't the only ones lurking around the Sancho drama, as Juventus and Barcelona are both keeping an attentive eye on the situation. Kayla, what do you think? We have more updates.
So, like you said, he's said to go to Dortmund. He should have apologized when he could. Honestly, like,
yes.
He could have. He wasn't really playing anymore in United as it was, but if he just apologized, he could have definitely built a little bit more and then moved to a team that he was playing more in.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the situation definitely is not going to help him in his career at all. He's very immature for this. He literally ruined it for himself.
Yeah.
Like, he ruined the his spot in United for himself. And maybe going back to Dortmund will bring his ego back down a little bit, because the ego is really high right now.
It's inflated.
It's like too much. And maybe Dortmund, the coach, will be like, knock some sense into him, because it's not a Premier League team anymore. It's one of those teams that build the players and then send them off. And the fact that he's going back there, hopefully it'll like lower his ego a little bit. And he's not very professional as a player, considering a professional player on the Manchester United team. He's not acting like he should.
And like, if you look at something, I always compare this United team to, if you look at the Manchester team of like 1999, right? You had like these like really big, like, experienced players. They respected Sir Alex, like nothing was going under the rug. Everything was like direct, and all of these players were like, they were like leaders, right? And no one was doing like what they wanted. They were all doing it for the club, because it's Manchester United.
It was that club. Like, if you got to play, you got to play. Now, yes, they're in a dip for a little bit, but it's still Manchester United.
Yeah, you have to like rep the badge.
Yeah, you have to.
I think the move would actually be good for him. He needs to leave. He ruined it for himself. He was left out of the team picture, so it literally makes him done. If he's not in the team picture, you're not in the team. His pride got to himself. He ruined everything for himself. Like, I feel like we talk about this like every other episode. But he's acting like a child.
Yeah.
Like, the Dortmund coach, Edin Terzic, even said that Sancho is a player who needs an arm around him and to like watch over him. But you're 23. How long do you need, like, someone to watch over you? You're an adult, and now he needs to act like one. Because he's not an 18-year-old kid, like, moving to Dortmund anymore. Like, you're 23. And it's sad because it is his own fault. Like, even... Go ahead. You're going to say something?
No, yeah, I was going to say, like, at first we were backing him, and he had the right to, like, speak up about what the coach said about him, but the fact that he had, like, 3 opportunities to apologize, I think, he didn't take any of them, and they could have even worked out a deal between each other. I know I've mentioned that there could have been something that they could have done, and he's 23. He's 23. He's acting like he's 3. Like, I'm sorry, but I've met children who are more mature and know how to say sorry and know how to apologize to people. And he just doesn't. Like, he's so full of himself at this point.
It's annoying. Like,
it's very annoying.
So I read, like, other articles where it said that his teammates want him to apologize, and good, But even if you don't mean it, just go for 5 minutes, pretend to be sincere, go apologize.
Save yourself, like, honestly.
Well, now it's too late, obviously, and, he could have fixed it, but he kept at his little one-man protest.
Yeah, and like you said, it's very sad, but it is his own fault for not apologizing. He had chances, a lot of them. Did not take any of them. He just honestly kept on digging himself deeper and deeper.
Yeah, and deeper. At Dortmund, he was good. Like, he was like one of those top players. Like, incredible at Dortmund.
Him and Bellingham were both very incredible at Dortmund. And then Bellingham flourished. He continued. I think he continued his amazing form.
Because he's not, like, that kind of guy. He's very humble. He's respectful.
And Sancho, he just kind of went out and he doesn't have that, someone to keep the arm around him. Like
Jude Bellingham doesn't need that. He's 20.
And he's younger. Like, the thing is that he needs someone to watch over him to make sure he doesn't go to parties, and Bellingham doesn't. And it's just like, comparison is not good, but like in this case it is, because it's like, you're older, you need to be a professional. Your whole job is literally playing soccer. Like, I would love that to be my job, playing a sport for fun, something that you love. It. He's abusing it. Like, whenever he has free, he's like, okay, well, I have the money, I can go and party. Yeah, but you have a game the next day or something. Like, you gotta be aware of things that, like, his career, he doesn't care. And
I think maybe partially the reason he went to United, and I don't know the whole story, but maybe he slacked off because, you know, the wages he was getting, it was like $350K a week. A week?
Yeah, he was getting so much money a week that people probably get for like half a year or even a whole year.
Yeah.
And the fact that he just kind of took that for granted says a lot about his character, honestly. He just doesn't care, and then he's going to go back to Dortmund, and what?
You're not going to be the same player that you were, just because it's the club that
He's going to expect, people are probably expecting him, if he goes back to Dortmund, to be that same player, but he's not gonna. He hasn't been even practicing with the top team. Like, it doesn't...
With the kids! He's training with the kids! Like, it's not the same.
It's really not.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I'm sad that, you know... Maybe he'll probably never be the player that he was and that everyone was expecting him to be. Because of this. Because of a stupid post. He was
pretty good in the beginning of United. He brought that same self-respect from Dortmund. But then, I feel like everything just got to his head.
Yeah, like, he never really, like, showed who he really was. I remember that first season he came, right? Like, it was kind of like, you were just, like, waiting and giving him more chances.
He's gonna score. He's gonna score. Yeah. He's gonna score. Like, and he finally did, but it's kind of okay. It's kind of like a Kai Havertz situation.
Yeah. It's
Kai
like
Havertz,
you came
Mason
from Germany. You don't realize how big the Premier League is, and you fold.
Yeah, like if you come from Germany or any other team, honestly, outside. It's very slow paced, and honestly I feel like that's why you and I love the Premier League so much, just because it's so fast paced. You never know what's going to happen. One team can be amazing one year, end up in relegation the next year. Like, they have to realize that you have to be constant with things to try to stay on the team, make sure you can keep up with the pace of the Premier League, and Sancho just isn't doing that, really.
Some other games this Premier League match week include Bournemouth versus Wolves, which ended 1-2. Wolves getting the win. Dominic Solanke got the opening goal of the game. Mateus Cunha then scored in the 47th minute. And Sasha Kalajic scored in the 88th minute, getting Wolves the win. Brentford took on Burnley and won 3-0. With Yohan Wissa scoring the first goal, Brian Mbeumo scoring the second goal, and Golo scoring the third goal in the 87th minute.
Newcastle took on Crystal Palace, winning 4-0. Jacob Murphy scored in the opening goal in the 4th minute, then Anthony Gordon, then Sean Longstaff, and finally Callum Wilson, leaving 30 more minutes for Crystal Palace to score, and they didn't. 4-0.
4-0 against Crystal Palace. That's... Newcastle are just a goal-scoring machine.
They really are.
They just, 8-0 against Sheffield, 4-0 against Newcastle.
They have
Crystal Palace.
They have good offensive lineup.
Like they have Isak, Wilson. Their defenders can even score, which is so good for them. Like, Jacob Murphy is probably one of my favorite players on Newcastle, if I'm being honest with you.
The fact that Newcastle's first goal was in the 4th minute is, like, you knew.
It shows. Yeah. Like, we know what this is going to be. And then Nottingham Forest tied with Luton Town 2-2. Chris Wood scored both goals for Forest. And for Luton, Ogbene scored in the 83rd minute and Adebayo scored in the 92nd minute. And on Sunday, Villa took on West Ham and absolutely blew them out of the water with a 4-1 win. Douglas Luiz scored the first goal in the 30th minute and then a penalty in the 51st. Ollie Watkins scored in the 74th minute and Leon Bailey scored in the 89th minute. And then for West Ham, Jared Bowen scored in the 56th minute. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please follow our Instagram and YouTube at Very Factual Podcast.